You just don't understand. You don't make any sense. Two statements from two perspectives. The first expressed by the frustrated speaker and the second by the annoyed receiver. Understanding or listener comprehension is the second of 6 critical interrelated behaviors to integrate into our lives if we are to be effective listeners. Let's spend a few minutes and explore understanding. Why don't people understand, and how can people be understood? It's a frustrating feeling when you're trying to talk with a coworker or a boss, or you are sharing your concern over a relationship issue with a friend or a relationship partner, and they just don't understand. The question is, why don't people understand? After all, I make perfect sense to myself. We need to consider a couple of important listening concepts in order to answer this question. The first concept we need to grasp is the concept of symbols and meanings. As soon as I say a word or series of words, your brain starts the process of trying to comprehend my words. We match verbal sound cues, in other words, spoken words, with corresponding mental images we relate to the sound cue. Frog. There was a sound cue. So what mental image came to mind? Was your image of a poisonous frog you have learned you should not touch? Or was it like one of my earliest memories of frogs? A big get-together where someone had gigged a bunch of frogs and we had a huge meal of frog legs. The sound cues, the words we use to communicate with our boss or our partner, are filled with attached meanings that are seldom the same attached meanings for the other person. Because we all have different experiences that we have used to attach meanings to those words. At best, the meanings each of us assign to word symbols are relative, approximate, and dependent on our own filters. Therefore, listening is the search for and the purposeful creation of shared meanings. Misunderstandings happen when people just assume the other person, the listener or the speaker, has the exact same meaning for words that we do. The second concept to consider when asking why don't people understand is the concept of semantic reactions. Everyone has an inner voice that instantaneously and simultaneous with the hearing process considers the sound cues or word symbols. This inner voice rapidly sorts through experiences, usually listens for key ideas and not always specific words, and attempts to form a frame of reference for the incoming information. So here's what happens, and this is where misunderstandings can arise. The person hearing the words has a semantic reaction. A semantic reaction occurs as a person hears a word symbol, causing the inner voice to search for and attempt to create meaning based on his or her own experience. The listener then reacts to this generated meaning more than the actual word or assumed societal meaning of the word. The sound cues the other person receives can be the word or even the tone of voice. You said one thing, but they reacted to something else. You will most likely not be aware of the impact of someone else's personal, cultural, family background, or other personal experiences that might be the source for this semantic reaction or misunderstanding. The conclusion you should arrive at is that not understanding someone or someone not understanding everything you might say is more the norm than the usual. Listening is the purposeful activity of seeking to understand by working to create a shared meaning. Shared meanings do not just happen. This leads us to the other half of the equation we are looking at. How can people be understood? There can be many suggestions we could examine as solutions to this question. I want to propose the discussion of one suggestion in particular: questions. So you have two or more people trying to understand each other, trying to comprehend what in the world the other is trying to communicate. Why not start with a question? The alternative is often to belittle, to interrupt, to become defensive, or to ignore the other person. Have you ever found any of these alternatives productive to understanding or to the relationship? Let's refer to this question as perception checking. Perception checking is asking a question to confirm that your understanding of your partner's message is correct, or if you're entirely off base. This question provides information to your partner about your understanding, and in return allows your partner to modify or clarify the real intent of the message. What would perception checking questions sound like? It could be worded in lots of ways, but you might just simply ask the speaker, "This is what I heard you saying just now. Fill in the blank. Is this correct?" Force yourself to check your perception, even when it feels awkward or possibly annoying. Remember to approach this in an unemotional manner, sincerely, and with the intent to more fully understand or be understood. How can people be understood? By taking the time to cooperatively seek to ask and answer perception-checking questions. Here's the final exam question. What is perception checking? The process of understanding. It is a behavior, an intentional behavior. No, it doesn't just happen, but here's the great news. You can make it happen if you work at it. See you in the next video.